Kin and Capital. Kin and Capital. Kin and Capital.
All right, so welcome back to the Kin and Capital podcast, where we talk about personal development, business, and career maxing. I'm your host, Christian. This is Mike. This is my brother, Chris. This is Alexis. How y'all doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Chill.
Yeah,
Chill.
good all around. All right, well, today we're talking a little bit about, and this is something that resonates with me very well right now, but learning when you're taking on too much. We can start wherever y'all want to, talking about that and what that means to you, what that looks like, and how to avoid it.
I think you probably start off with when it comes to I guess the best part is understanding when you get to a stress level.
Mhm.
Um don't let too many ideas be, the thing that pushes you out the door to go and try to do them all. Like
Yeah.
conceptualize first, plan, and then execute. Don't ignore all that and then try to go do them all at the
Right.
same time.
Absolutely.
Um, it just leads to stress,
Yeah.
poor quality, and you're not as productive as you think you are.
Yeah.
Because like you might be, doing each one and then realize like, you're not making progress with anything. So you might honestly give up on some things, and it's just easier just to start with one thing and
Absolutely.
get that to a certain point where it's consistent, and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah. One thing I had down for one of our talking points is, why do you think we do take on too much? Why do we get to the point where we feel like we need to be ultra
Well,
busy all the time? And
it's not a bad thing. I think it's just people want something with their life.
Yeah.
Like they either want to improve, they want better, or some people just can't stand being,
Idle.
still. Yeah, idle.
Yeah. Sometimes
So
societal pressures too.
yeah, it's not a bad thing. I think people just overdo it. Right? They don't know they're overdoing it either.
Mhm.
I think that's the other. Like, say for instance, you do start with one thing, you can overdo that by doing it so much
Much
that
of
it's
it.
unhealthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Be sure to take breaks and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's a bad thing. I think it comes from a good place.
Yeah.
Well, unless you've gone through something traumatically, you might be trying to stay busy, just trying to not think about that or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, I think it all depends on what are you what is the end goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Kind of taking it into the corporate world. A lot of you can try to you can try to take on so much because you got so many things you're trying to push forward on, and what that can do, that can that can extend deadlines because you're focusing on too much. They can extend deadlines. You can cause burnout. You can burn out your team. You can burn out yourself. And then things can start happening. Let's just say you're trying to move forward on this particular technology or this project, and you're just keep adding things on top of it, adding all these tasks. Well, what happens if the day-to-day stuff that keeps the lights on, something happens? Once you have a production issue, a production outage,
yeah,
you got to stop all that, put all hands on deck onto the production outage, try to fix. You got to make sure your customers are still happy while you're still trying to push forth on this project. What do you prioritize at that point, right? So when you take on too much, you run the risk of not focusing on, um, not really focusing on what,
Fulfillment, customer
yeah,
fulfillment.
fulfilling your customers, right? What makes them happy? Keep them going, keep the lights on,
Yeah.
and you also risk burning your people out too.
Certainly.
You burning yourself out. You trying to take on too much. At some point, you got to step back and be like, all right, what can we prioritize? What's the end goal? What are we wanting to push for first? What makes the most sense of us? What do we got to prioritize first? Like, how much gain are we going to get out of this versus this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's a lot to it. And that's just from a corporate example.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
it's the same in any industry, I feel like, too. I mean, in my industry, being more hands on, uh, when a truck goes down or machine breaks or something like that, um, in my opinion, I think it makes sense to sometimes reschedule. Sometimes that's the better option with a customer or something like that, depending on what your industry is. But it is important to make sure they're satisfying. You're not losing the customer and stuff like that. But um, I think when it comes to tying scheduling into that, sometimes certain companies can overschedule their people. They can put too much work on you. Um, and that goes back into what I mentioned just a minute ago with societal pressures.
Hmm.
Everybody's so focused on a lot of people are greedy. Let's just put it that way.
Oh yeah.
And some companies will put too much stress on their people because they're trying to reach fiscal year, end of year goals or what's up, boy?
Hmm.
End of year goals, or they're just pushing for something. And I mean, let's be
Well,
honest, it's justified because life's expensive,
yeah,
and
and
it's
I was gonna
expensive for
say,
everybody at
like,
any level. Yeah,
people have to consider. I mean, it's tough. Like, you got to know who you're getting in bed with.
yeah,
Like, that's just what it comes down to. But understanding that if the business itself has its own goals and expectations that it has to keep. So if they have stockholders, anybody that's important and wants to know, like, if they've invested in the company, right, they have their expectations. So if you think about like hitting quarterly goals, yearly goals, like they want to see the number always going up.
absolutely.
You're not going to find somebody who wants it to be leveled
Right.
Yeah,
all the time.
rightfully
They
agreed.
want it to keep
Makes sense.
going
Yeah,
up, right? So that's why the scheduling gets crazy because they can't say, all right, we got 400 sales, we're good. Well, if somebody cancels, that 400 goes down. So they
mm-hmm.
have to keep selling, which means it's going to be overselling. But that's why they have or should have a structure where it's like, okay, within hours, right? They schedule out, okay, this type of work should be completed in this amount of time, right? Your stakeholders have a responsibility. And so they put that responsibility on the people that are in charge of operations and things of that nature. So as long as they structured it properly, where the timing of, the typical work matches and they're not, you know, we'll be honest, some companies will actually try to squeeze it in there, right? You'll get those last minute calls or whatever. I mean, at that point, it's like you probably could go without that one. But it's just the pressure of living up to those, like, quarterly and yearly expectations, and they have to see growth
Yeah,
because, that's their investment.
Yeah,
Like, they don't want it to be steady, they definitely don't want it to go
for
down,
sure.
and
yeah,
they have no control of when that's gonna occur.
Yeah,
yeah. But I think also they they have to put trust in their teams and the people they have leading those teams to come back with that data and like and put I don't want to say push back, but they have to be open to be like, if my team I know we're taking on too much, it's my job as a manager to kind of present that data, be like, hey, this is why we can't meet these deadlines because we got this going on, we got this going on, we got this going on.
Mhm.
And if they're like, yeah, but we really need to push this, then my job is like, okay, we can do that. What do we need to drop?
yeah,
Out of
Yeah.
everything I just presented to you, what's gonna drop to the bottom of the list and what's gonna take its place? You know what I mean?
which is
And that
just
Yeah.
realistic. Yeah,
yeah, and so
realistic,
that puts the
self-esteem.
ownership on them
Yeah,
to make that call.
yeah,
And I can go back to the team like, okay, we have to move forward with this initiative, but because of that, we're gonna drop this task we were working on, we're gonna drop that down to a later date and we're gonna focus on this.
Yeah.
So, what do we suggest to people, though, that don't have that luxury? Like, we've all worked at a company where the manager is the yes man. There
Yeah.
is no, "Imma go run that back up and see what they say."
Yeah.
whatever they
It
says
stops
goes.
there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
you said what's the recommendation for that?
Yeah.
I, I agree with 100% with what you're saying because you do need to be growing. A company does need to be growing, so I don't blame it.
Mhm.
It's a hard place thing to balance because a lot of times it's justifiable for hard work, and we should be working hard. Nobody should be. I don't believe that people should be going to work sitting on the clock doing nothing. Like everybody should be doing honest work.
Yeah.
Certain tasks only take a certain amount of time to perform, but people stretch it out because you give them all day to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like I believe in hard work and doing honest work and staying on task all the time. And sometimes employees are responsible for milking the clock or not being as productive as they can be. So I get it, but mm, owners and upper management or whatever the case may be also need to have an understanding that some expectations are unrealistic and not everything can be prioritized, like you just said. So it's a balance, and it's hard to find that balance as the person that's doing the implementation versus the person that's in leadership that doesn't see the day to day. Um,
That's why I say you got to know who you get in bed with. When you
Sure.
pick that company to go work for them,
Exactly.
you better have done your research.
Mm-hmm.
You better have asked around because somebody's going to tell you what it was like to work there
Yeah.
or what it's like to work there.
Yeah.
And I think, like for instance, my experience at AT&T, I didn't ask anybody what that work was like. Had I asked, I would have probably second guessed it,
Mhm.
right? But I was more so absorbed with the opportunity than the actual experience and culture of the place. That's why I think the advice is like research first so that you can kind of have a understanding of what your day to day is going to be
Yeah.
like. And that way you can if you can't handle the workload where it gets stacked and stacked, you need to probably pursue something else. Now, if you're just in a predicament and this is what you get and you need to take it, I mean, I can't say nothing about that. But if you have the option, you
Yeah.
need to choose
No,
wisely.
I think it's important too. That's a good point, but also understanding that what is happening. But also understand that
Came straight for you.
I know what I do. Um that company situations can change in a drop of a
Mhm.
hat.
Yes.
So you can do your research, like, oh, this seems like this is a good place to work. Culture's great. But they may be hit a time crunch, but like, oh, they struggling on profit. They might be risking getting bought out. And maybe they trying to move forward on some initiatives really quick to make their bottom line get better. You know what I mean? So situations can change. It's
Sure.
very situational. So you can have a season, a quarter to where things are mellow, everybody's doing
Yeah.
great work. You can work on cool things. Quarter three comes around, oh shoot, we struggling right now.
Yeah.
So we got to push this product out here ASAP in order to get our numbers up. And that situation changes. You're gonna have to reprioritize some things. There's gonna be some stress levels. So it's very situational. Like you can do all the research in the world, but depending on where the company is at that particular time,
Might
things can
change.
shift
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
You know what
You
I'm saying? You
can
just gotta be willing to adapt to the situation, but
Yeah.
also leadership has to understand, like you stated, there's a such thing as unrealistic expectations.
Certainly. Yeah.
But then it's on, like I said, I mentioned earlier, as a manager, you have to bring forth that data to kind of show them and prove to them, like, look, we can't right now. We're struggling as a team. If you want us to get this done, give us more resources,
Yeah.
give us more money.
Kind of like a proof of concept.
Yeah,
showing
what
what
you're
you're doing.
trying to push for, we don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So what you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Yeah.
You gonna train us? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of things there, but I think it's very situational too.
Mhm.
Like you just got to be able to adapt to the
Yeah.
situation.
But be ready to be somebody that's used to challenges, fast paced
Yeah.
work, stuff like that. But I do like what you were saying too, though.
Yeah.
Is one thing I like about just things now in comparison. We touched on it a little bit last episode about how we used to have to apply for jobs and go in person and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
One cool thing now, though, is especially now that I'm applying for sales development roles, is with like social media, especially LinkedIn, you can find out the culture before
Yeah.
getting into a situation by talking to
Mhm.
the employees that work there. So if you for instance, in my situation, if I reach out, which I've been doing outreach to fellow SDRs in that company, I'll ask them what the culture is like. How do you like the position? How hard is it to hit your quota? How hard is this? Blah, blah, blah. I ask a bunch of questions before I even decide, do I want to reach out to the VP of sales or the talent acquisition management
Yeah.
or anybody? And I'm like, yep, nope, I'll go over it.
Yeah.
And I try not to do that too much because I'm like, I also don't want to pass up on an opportunity just because of culture, because I have worked at companies where maybe the culture wasn't so great, and I don't work there no more. So, i.e., post office, but the bread was good.
Yeah.
So it's like just because I tell somebody it wasn't good, well, their ability to handle challenges might be different
Yeah.
than
Yep.
mine,
That's
I
a
was just
great
about to
point.
and
say.
I
Yeah.
might be turning them away from an opportunity, and they miss out on an opportunity
Yep.
that they could have withstood. Because, for
Mhm.
instance, like my dad versus me, we cut from a different cloth. You ain't talking smack to me. He takes it and absorbs it, and it don't bother.
I think so when
So
just to finish off the whole research in the company, there's a couple things to look at. How long has the company been around?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying to be weary, but be mindful of new companies. They haven't probably established a culture. They
Sure.
probably haven't established procedures, processes, and all those things, and probably bringing you on so you can do that.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. Like research as much as you can. If the company's been around for 100 years,
There's some
They're
there's
locked-
some
they're
kind
locked
of
in.
right.
Yeah.
Like you were saying with the quarters and stuff. Like that will like Google ain't been around for 100 years, right? But when they figured out how to automate some jobs, you saw hundreds of people get their job, lose their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it can flip on the dime, but I bet you still want to work at Google though.
Right.
So,
You see what I'm saying? Like it's just understanding those things. The the one thing to know is when you don't own the company,
You ain't
it's a
gonna-
risk anyway.
Yep.
absolutely.
Right? It's a risk anyway. So that's why I say, get in the bed, know who you're getting in the bed with. That'll help you out some way to understand what choices to make from there. And to y'all point, right? Be adaptable.
Sure.
But I mean, that's the like it used to be a key word you had to say in an interview.
Mhm.
I'm very adaptable. Now it's since everybody says it, we go, oh, okay, how?
Right.
Yep.
Right? Like standard. So you have to have that. You got to have some tough skin. Nobody should be, dogging out your mom. But if you mess up, be able to take that to the chin. Now, as long like I said, as long as they ain't cuss you out or something, you should be fine.
Yeah, have boundaries.
Yeah. But
Sure.
just consider all those things for sure.
Yeah, but like hitting on what you said, perception is key too. And it
Yeah,
all
it is.
depends on when you're doing your research, talking to people who work there.
Mhm.
Everybody's perception of of a company is different.
Mhm.
Their role might be cakewalk. They're like, man, I love it, man. I'm getting all I get to work on this. I get to do this. I get paid well.
Facts.
Then you talk to source B, they're like, man, this company sucks, man. I can't do that. I ain't
Yeah.
getting paid.
But it's
Yeah.
beautiful the amount of resources you have because you can either reach out directly or you can use a site like
Yep.
RevView or something like that where people leave reviews of the company. and stuff like
Glassdoor,
that.
all kinds of
Glassdoor, yeah.
stuff,
Yep.
man.
And you can really kind of cultivate all that data and make a decision for yourself. I think ultimately still make a decision for yourself because you just you don't want to miss out on something if it might turn out to be a good
Yeah,
opportunity.
because I think the problem nowadays is people make choices too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'll be honest, for tech, they kind of expect you to like research the company a little bit.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
you got to.
For sure.
because people, especially for cybersecurity, people jump roles. Like, man, like relationships, right? They go within 1 year they would have had 2 different jobs,
Mhm.
and the same thing the next year, and it's just like, why are you leaving? Like, they have their different reasons for why they do it, but a lot of times, especially cybersecurity, a lot of companies are young. They ain't been around long enough. The ones that have been around long enough, like they got this tight window getting in there. So, yeah.
I feel like we touched on my third question a little bit, the dangers of taking on too much. Um,
Stress.
Yeah,
stress. Yeah,
burnout.
we talked about that. Yeah,
Mhm.
Or get
absolutely.
it stressed and then eventually giving up on it.
Right.
Yeah, and then nothing gets done.
Yeah.
You taking on too much, you don't finish anything because you got too much on your plate.
Yep.
You can't finish one thing. That's why I said it's important to understand what the end goal is. What are you truly trying to accomplish, and focus on that one or two things, right?
Yeah.
To get there.
The biggest thing you said was like, what are the gains?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's huge. Sometimes I forget that, right? And that's not just work, that's like life.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you're just taking on too much in life.
Yeah, that's important in entrepreneurship too, because if you take on too much and the project just goes bad, that's your reputation, and that
For sure.
that goes around,
Mhm.
But no, I don't work with him because he did this,
Ooh, that's a good point.
And what you were really trying to do is wear too many hats to save them on costs, and ultimately, project failed, and now you suffer for it down the line. So, got to delegate.
So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, you brought up the point of wearing too many hats to kind of help whoever your client out. But at what point do you set the expectation and be like, hey, if you want me to do X, Y, and Z, understand that X might not get done in a timely fashion because I'm focused on Y and Z as well.
Yeah, I learned that talking about video production early. I'm a professional now, but the client kind of expects you to do everything,
Mhm.
and working as an entrepreneur, you're just you're trying to get paid.
Right.
So you're willing to do whatever it takes to, to get that buck. It wasn't after doing that for years, you kind of realize that, oh, wow, me bringing the lights and lighting the scenario, it's a job in itself. But that, it stresses me out on set. It takes my mind away from the camera or, helping with pre-production. Like, wherever you allocate your own personal energy, you're losing it somewhere else. And it's doing the overall job a disservice.
Yeah.
So after pretty much trial and error, I would say,
Yeah.
it just goes back to educating your client, setting those realistic expectations because they don't know.
Yeah.
Half the time when I talk to him, I talked to a guy yesterday, he wanted a video. I was like, do you need an editor? He was like, what's an editor? I'm like, bro, really? Like, you'd be
Wow.
surprised,
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you got to kind of go like, hey, do you want me to just shoot the video? Do you want me to shoot it and produce it? While I shoot it, do you have a place to shoot it at? Do you
Sure.
need people? Do you need music? those discovery questions and making sure everybody understands, what's going into it and holding everybody accountable to the roles is just crucial too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I asked that question because even in the corporate world, a lot of times when somebody wants you to take on an additional task, they'll ask you if you can take it on. Or even if they don't, if they be like, I need you guys to take, that's your opportunity to be like, we can't because we got this going on. You can't be a yes man. Because if you're like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that.
Absolutely. No,
You
that's a good.
Setting
That's a good
yourself
point.
up for
Yeah.
That's a really good
failure.
point. That's a really good point. That goes with everything. I was even thinking with what you mentioned, because just getting into the entrepreneurial space in general, I'm starting to realize, uh, yeah, at some point I'm gonna have to hire people to do certain stuff because I can't do
you
everything.
can, bro.
But the cool thing about that is it allows you to charge more, and when you
Oh,
start thinking about it, that's why companies charge more because it takes multiple hands, or they realize what. Because starting off, they might have charged just a little bit, and like you say, oh well, this lighting thing's no joke. Let me up my price. Oh well, this takes me so much time to do, and I still got to do this too. Well, I might have to hire somebody to help me with this. Let me up the price again. You know what I'm saying? Like it gives you the opportunity to do that. Uh, but no, wearing all the hats sucks, and that's a good point what you made about speaking up and not just
being a yes
trying to be
man.
a people pleaser,
Yeah.
or even if it's not people pleasing, you're just afraid to tell them you
Because
can't do it.
you're afraid
Well,
because of their stature or their
Yeah,
title or
yeah.
yep,
I've definitely been guilty of that too. And then you get overwhelmed. You have to set boundaries
you have to.
when it comes to that, or you're going to be worked to death,
Yep.
and then it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, but you also have to make sure you have to expect the why question.
Yeah,
So you have to back up that with some data.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
Do
the
you look
why and
better
then
when
have
you
a
say
solution.
no and like have a reason why? Does it make you look better? Like you're on your stuff to the point where it's like, you know what you can handle and can't handle? Is there a
Yeah,
positive with that?
it shows whoever your client, your higher up, that you have a good pulse, a good handle on what your team's working on, and you have an ear and an eye on what's going on with your team. So that they can entrust you with, okay, Chris knows what he's talking about, or Alexis knows what he's talking about. I can go to him and be like, hey Chris, so and so just came to me. We want to implement this. Can you guys do that? At that point, they trust my
Right.
answer.
Mm.
They know if I come to them and say yay or nay, they be like, okay, I trust you. I'm gonna go back to so and so. Like, no, we can't. Now, there are times to where trust can be an issue to where your higher up can be like, hey, can you guys do this? And you're like, no, because this is like, I'm gonna go somewhere else and see if that's true or not.
yeah. Sometimes it
I've
depends
had that
on.
happen to me too, and it's
Yeah,
very frustrating because it's like, dude, I just told you that we can't because of this, and this. You're getting a second opinion from somebody who ain't close to the work like we are.
that makes it so. Sometimes makes it difficult because it also depends on the communication style of the person that you're dealing with. Some people have and I get it to an extent, but it's not always something to rely on. A no excuses mentality. Like, yo, if I broke my leg, I legit can't do it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there is a legit excuse for stuff,
yeah.
a good reason why you can't do it. But some people, especially in hustle culture nowadays, it's
Oh
no
my
excuses.
God.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
there's sometimes are
You still
actually
got another leg.
yeah.
see, see what I mean?
Was this
That's
the
terrible.
Holy Grail?
yeah.
It's a flesh wound.
Exactly.
Yes,
But
love.
it's like it that makes it difficult. Like you said, if
Mhm.
you're not the owner, it ultimately comes down to how reasonable are they?
It
How
you
good,
know
how much do they consider their workers, and
it,
are they
it
willing to
it
listen?
ties back to the stakeholder.
Yeah,
Like the reason why they're probably not saying all cases, but just to give an example, they're probably going for a second opinion because this is riding on something,
sure.
right? So either they sold something that
Mhm.
they were not prepared to sell,
Yes.
Mm.
or
That's a big one.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
if they've sold it, well, the commitment's already there, contracts are probably already signed.
Yeah.
Now you just got to deliver. It's like
Yo, that's an episode in itself.
you can't really go, well, we can't deliver it because if it's a lot of money tied into that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's not. They gonna make it happen,
Oh yeah.
whether it involves you or not.
Man, you are touching on something because I was asking that very question too. Like, man, when my team is already working on so much and I'm being asked to put more on top of it, like, and somebody asked me, I was like, well, where's that coming from? I was like, what do you mean? That has to come from somewhere. There's a reason why they're trying to push an initiative for something.
hmm
Whether it's like you said, there's a lot of money riding behind it. Maybe somebody's going up for a promotion. In order for them to get this promotion, they got to move forward with this initiative. There's a reason behind everything.
Yeah, what they say, follow the money every time.
Yeah.
Follow the money. If you got to ask why, start following the money.
Yeah.
Ching.
Yeah.
We already touched a little bit on my second question. That's why I skipped it a little bit. But the signs that you're caring too much.
The sign. What do you mean?
Stress.
The sign. What do you mean?
You
Signs
mean
that you're
signs you're
carrying too much.
The signs that you're carrying, you're doing too much. You have too much on your plate.
Ah, gotcha.
And I
Oh,
would say mental fatigue, shut down, unable to process your thoughts. We talked a little bit last episode about
That's me
writer's
right
block.
now.
What you say?
That's me right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's signs. There's clear signs that I think.
somebody will tell you.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell you, hey, you acting different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you just gotta pause, breathe, and think about why they said that.
Yeah.
Yep. Somebody opinion be like, Chris, you're not
Mhm.
yourself today.
Yep. Because
You-
sometimes we can ignore what our body's already trying to tell us.
Yeah,
Let
because
somebody else
we
tell
just
you.
trying to keep pushing
Yeah.
forward. Yep.
And get it done.
That's
Yeah.
why we're overworking. Because our body is telling us, but we're ignoring it. But if somebody
Mhm.
comes and tell you, like, you need to just pause for a second and think about
And
it.
there's nothing wrong with pausing. Like, nobody knows you like you.
Mhm.
So if you're getting to a point to where you're like, you can't even think, you got so much going on, like you can't even think what you're going to do the next couple seconds, and you don't even remember what you just did 5 minutes ago, you got too much going on.
Overwhelmed.
You got PTO for a reason. Take some time off, take a break, walk away from your desk, take a walk, sit outside for a minute. But you know you, right? And
Yeah.
nobody can tell you who you are but yourself.
Right.
So yeah, you just got to take that time for yourself to rest and know when you're taking on too much and getting overwhelmed, and don't be afraid to speak up.
This is why I don't like New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Because people will pack that thing
Mm-hmm.
and execute nothing. Like they might start, but complete nothing. Maybe
Yeah.
one thing. Like if you have to realize that you're human. You're not a robot, right? So your processing cannot focus on multiple things at the same time.
Right.
So I say complete one goal. Like we talked about this earlier. Complete the first thing first. So if your goal is to like lose weight, focus on losing weight first, right? I- If there's something else in your life that you're also trying to achieve, like I don't know, maybe you're trying to just be a better person. Like do that in a smaller time or something like that. It's just people want to do it all in one day and realize they don't have no time the rest of the day. Their day is packed full. They can't do anything else now. So the time that they would have to rest or just take a break, it's gone.
Yep. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in that stage many a times in life, getting overly ambitious. We talked about a little bit before we start recording about shiny object syndrome. And and sometimes when you are ambitious, uh, you see opportunities for what they are. Everything can be exciting, but I think just narrowing it down to understand, look, I only got 24 hours in a day. I'm only going to be able to do so many things in life as well.
Yeah.
You have to narrow it down and pick what your focus is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that might look different depending on what stage of life you're in, what your life looks like. Like if you're a single guy, you might be able to focus more on a couple of things. If you're a family man, you've got to spend time with your family and your children and make time for that as well. So you want to always, and I always hate to use the word balance because life is almost never balanced. And if you're in a season where you're trying to grow, you can't focus on, oh, well, I got to have perfect work-life balance. Yeah, sometimes you don't in some seasons. Sometimes you have to grind stuff out, but you still have to be realistic with your time and understand that you're actually limiting yourself by spreading yourself thin too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
I think people have to understand this. The scale is always going to be tipped just a little bit lower than you want it to be.
Mhm.
It's always going to be like that. Because if it was perfectly balanced, bro, you wouldn't have any
Got
problems.
any problems?
You'd be happy every
Agreed.
day. So it's always going to be tipped a little bit. Once you understand that, like I think you can take on those issues because some of those issues might be small. Like I mean, that's how I'm going every day. I know it's not going to be perfect every day. Sometimes during the day, it's not going to be perfect
Yep.
all day. So
Life never plays out how you want it to.
no.
Roll with the punches. Oh yeah, hitting on all the stuff I had already. We never hit on all this. How do you know when to say no? You just talked
Bang,
about that a
bang.
little bit. Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang.
How do you know when to say no? Sometimes you can feel when you're stressed, you're overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, be honest with yourself. You know you already. You know. You
Yeah,
know you
listen
more
to
than
your body.
anybody.
Listen to if you're managing the team. Listen to your team. They're closer to the work. If they're telling you that they're overworked and they're being burnt out, listen to them and
Yep.
share that right with the higher ups who are trying to make you push forward on that particular initiative or whatever. Give them that feedback,
Mm.
and of course you got to back it up with data. Try to back it up as best as you can, but listen to your team. That's why they're there. You got to trust in your team. You're just there to help manage and guide them, but they're the ones doing the work. They're the ones that you're giving these tasks to. So if they're overworked, they can't make you look good, and you can't make your boss look good with an overworked team.
Mm.
So you got to share that feedback. Listen to your team.
I guess, do y'all have any practical steps to lighten your load? Like, what if you get into a position? Like, okay, I'll give an example.
Mhm.
At my job, I was taking on too many hours, but it was optional. I
Mhm.
was again being overly ambitious, and I'm like, oh, they don't care how many hours I work. This was in my mid to early 20s, and I went for it. And I had an older gentleman in his 40s. He was like, "Yo, you're gonna burn out." And me being cocky in my 20s, I don't burn out. I can't burn out.
Mhm.
Oh, I burned out. I burned out.
Mhm.
So, what would y'all say are the steps? Like, what are some steps to lighten your load and get out? Because then I had to. After that, is like they have a certain expectation of me. And now I
Mhm.
got to go back and backtrack on, yo, I can't be doing Saturdays. I can't be doing this. I can't be doing that. Cause now I got to, I am trying to get back to balancing at least somewhat with my family, my energy levels, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm gonna be honest. When you're that young, you don't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
Uh, if you do, I mean, chill out.
Kudos to you. Yeah.
Yeah, but most of us, like 18 to 25, don't listen to people,
Yeah.
and that's why we learn the lessons the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, but you have to start listening to people,
Yeah.
and I think you have to start listening to yourself. Um, it's very money drives us to do some stupid things, so it's really hard, especially if you think you need it, right, or you think you can handle it. I mean, sometimes you just gotta do it and find out that you can't. Um,
Only face.
Especially when like a 40-year-old tells you that, you probably think, "Oh, this old dude,
Yes.
what he know?" Like
Yeah.
that's I don't know what to really say for that because it's hard when you're young. When
Mhm.
you're older, you're a little more mindful of the things that you are capable of doing.
Mhm.
Get more
To the
responsibilities too.
right to the point where as soon as somebody tell you what you gotta do, you might have a reaction right out the gate. Like, I don't know, man.
It's almost a challenge too. I think of what it was too.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, bet.
Y- Yeah, because when you're young, you think you're invincible
Yeah.
till your body starts breaking down,
Break it
and
down,
you're like,
boy.
The knees.
yeah,
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff, right? So it's like if you're it, like Chris said, think about your gains. Is the input worth the output
Right.
when you're looking at how much work you're willing to take on? What are you sacrificing in order to accomplish that? I mean, if you're single, bro, I don't care what you do. I'm gonna be honest with you. But if you got a family or you got kids, like you probably should be considering them.
Yeah.
But to the single dude, knock it out.
Yeah.
Do it all day. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I I don't know what that's like for like me being 36 for a single 36-year-old. Like I don't know what that's like to be like.
True.
He got all the time to do what he want.
Energy
So
levels
or
might be a
her
little
she
different too.
won't. Yeah. So like but once you realize you're burning yourself out, learn that lesson, don't do it again. Yeah, some things you just gotta unfortunately just fall on your face and learn the hard way.
Yeah.
I think that's one of them.
It's like get familiar with your limitations.
Yeah, because you don't know. That's why you were doing it.
Yeah.
You didn't know, especially with that type of work. Like you probably hadn't did that kind of work before. So of course you're gonna be like, it's like when I went into the military, bro. They trained me to think I could do whatever, and so I believed that for years until I realized like, oh, I can't do all this.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
when you're young, you're just so impressionable, and you're programmed already to think the wrong things.
Yeah, I think when it comes to kind of when we go back to practical steps to lighten up your load, one, like you mentioned, what's the end goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Two, you got to prioritize everything that you got on your plate. Three, what are the quick wins? What can you knock out real quick?
Mm.
Because a lot of times you might focus too much on something that's taking the bulk of your time, where you got these things that are you consider low hanging fruit that you can just knock out real quick.
Yeah.
Now lighten up your load right there.
That's a good point.
See what your quick wins are. Reprioritize everything. Know your limitations, like you said. And a lot of times, maybe there's something that maybe you got something on your list that just doesn't make sense right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't have the time, the energy, the resources to even take that on right now. That's fine. Reprioritize it. Put that aside for a later date. That's personal and, in your career, right? Sometimes you don't have a choice if it's coming from the top down, but it still goes back. The reprioritization really comes into play, right? We gotta swap this for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So let's take these things off, put all our efforts towards this. Once we get this knocked out, then we can bring that back into the fold, right? But I think it's important to focus on the quick wins, things you can knock out real quick. That'll lighten up your load real quick.
Yeah, forget my answer.
No, that was good too. That was
Mhm.
a fire breakdown for sure. That wrapped
Yeah.
all that together really good.
This is why we have him.
That was really good. For real.
Hey, that's some.
I mean,
I'm
he
40
big, bro. He supposed to have that
I'm
answer. though.
43. I'm about to be 43 years old. So to your comment about in your 20s, in your early 30s, I wasn't thinking like this.
Yeah.
I was a young Thundercat.
Yeah.
I was trying to get
There
that
you go, right
money.
there.
You know what I'm
Thundercat.
saying?
That was the age
Yeah.
too.
Thundercat. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
crazy.
I could take on everything. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't matter. But now, as I got older, and I think being in leadership as well,
True.
has showed me that, man, you gotta reprioritize and just knock out those quick wins real quick and understand what the end goal is.
That's why you need a mentor, though.
Yes, that's important.
That's what I'm
too.
saying. When you're young, you don't listen to nobody, but you will listen to your mentor.
Mhm.
That's why it's important for people that recognize somebody that needs that. Form that bond with them and help them, because they're not. Even then, they still don't listen to everything you say and take it to heart and go implement. But at least they listen to something that you say. It's just really, look, I think about it all the time. When I was that age, bro, I don't care who you were. I didn't listen until I fell on my face, and we had this conversation Friday. I was just like, I had the hardest 3 years in my life, and I was just like, I need to bounce back. I can't redo all that and go through that in my life again. So I started listening to people finally. And even then, when I came back from overseas, I was 21. I still wouldn't listen to everybody because I still thought I knew best. But I was still taking in information at least.
Yeah.
But when you young like that, bro, you just why you think they call you a young bull?
Mhm.
Like, it's hard.
Yeah. It's almost kind of frustrating to watch too, because it's like, it's like you do get to an older age, and it's like I was like that, and then you see somebody else doing it. It's like you get why they're doing it, but it's like, yo, this is so dumb. Like, why couldn't people not just listen? But you did it too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, facts.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
my parents told me straight up the gate. They was like, "Oh, you ain't about to listen to nobody." I already know, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be fine." Swan dive right into the concrete, dog. Like, it was crazy. But I mean, whatever you want to subscribe to, I still think they say, your brain ain't fully developed till like what 24, 25 anyway. So because you just start thinking differently.
That's true. Yeah. Don't have enough life experiences to really make good decisions.
Or enough concrete to fall on. Like,
Yeah.
One of the two. Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up all the topics that I had for today.
cut the check.
That was dude. I was hitting it all as I was going. I'm like, they answered that. They answered this. And I was a fire
Is that a
episode,
sign we
man.
know
It
what we
was,
doing?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Just a
Fire
little bit.
episode. Hopefully, y'all was taking notes. If you watching it on YouTube or whatever platform you're on, be sure to like, share, subscribe. What would they be saying? Smash that like button.
Smash that like
Smash
button.
that
However you
like
do
button.
that. And peace out.